Hi everyone, Comic Reviewer here. This time reviewing on Batman Superman World's Finest. Now, as you know, the Batman Superman series is meant to have the typical Superman and Batman team up against dangerous foes or stories of the day. And the cover mainly has Batman and Superman posing on with other characters from the Batman series as well as the Action Comics one. And let's go on the story. It starts off with giant vines attacking the Daily Planet. We see Perry White saying, "Everyone to the stairs, quickly! But Ordinary, do not panic. Offices are clear, Chief. I think everyone's accounted for." And we see how Lois realizes that Clark's missing. And we see how Poison Ivy has attacked the Daily Planet. And we see how she thinks it's Superman, but turns out it's actually Batman and Robin. And we see how Superman hears something and sees that Vine's in that and been using his heat vision. And we see how he flies off, sees that it was Poison Ivy that did the attack, and turns out she's not alone, as you have Metallo, who says, "You're about to be otherwise engaged." And of course, we see how because Metallo has green kryptonite, it can weaken or kill Superman. And we see Batman saying, "Of course, go Superman, get out of here, Robin and I will have this." And we see how, Poison Ivy managed to use her vines to hold down Batman and Robin. And we see how Metallo uses his kryptonite heart. And despite Batman's best protests in using special kind of bombs to kill off the Green, we see how Poison Ivy panics and of course decides to let go of Robin. And we see how Metallo tries to weaken down Superman. And we see Batman racing down to save Robin. And we see how Metallo decides to use his special bat, the red kryptonite. Now, for those who don't know, this red kryptonite is supposed to kind of do weird things to Superman, much like in the Silver Age and Bronze Age media, where, some would end up with Superman having an ant-like appearance, one would have him having, such as gaining two heads or something, and we see how he decides to use it, and pretty much goes Pulp Fiction on Superman, and aims it right into his heart. And we see how they see Superman screaming, and of course takes down Poison Ivy and Metallo. And we see how someone's pulling the strings, and turns out it's someone that seems to know them. We see how years ago, their first team up, they dealt with the Penguin who kidnapped Robin, holding him out as bait, and even having weaponers from the anti-meta universe who did appear in the kind of Crisis on Infinite Earth comics. We see how Superman and Batman show up, and despite the weaponers' best intentions, they do little to no damage to Superman, and Batman takes down the Penguin, and of course manages to kind of fix up everything around the factory, and manages to stop one more weaponer and the Penguin, and of course forming their friendship. And we see how, Superman is ending up screaming and causing all sorts of pain. We see how he goes through every sort of transformation known to man. And we kind of see how Lois and Jimmy show up to try and talk with Clark down. And we see how, Clark's powers are going haywire and causing him to see through his own body. And we see how, he ends up going panicking, destroying the Daily Planet globe. And we see how Robin does his best intentions in trying to follow Superman while saving casualties and bystanders. And we see how Superman panics so much, he slowly ends up becoming an actual Man of Steel. And we see how the Doom Patrol were called on by Batman to get help, and turns out Batman knows some of these characters, like Robot Man, who was a person who had a race car accident, Rita Fair, who was a movie star, who ended up inhaling strange chemicals from a jungle, as well as Phantom Man, who kind of ended up absorbing strange radiation. And of course, we see how something goes wrong again. Superman ends up believing General Zod and the other criminals have escaped. And we see Batman saying, "Everyone, scatter!" And of course, this is where Superman says, "But if you want to fight, you've got one." We see how he tries to throw things around, despite not being General Zod. And we see how he believes that Ursa and even Non are there too, even though they're not. And of course, we do see how Negative Man as well as Robot Man deal with some heavy casualties. And of course, we do see how Batman tries to talk with him down, but Batman is seen by Superman as Lex Luthor. And after telling him to hear his voice and telling him about the red kryptonite, he knows his secret identity and tries to remind him of their friendship, but manages to calm down. And we see how, his X-ray vision and other powers go haywire, and we see how his powers have been amplified, and we see how Negative Man manages to kind of sedate Superman, calming him down. And we see at the Doom Patrol headquarters, they plan to get help from Chief, who can actually fix Superman. And as soon as Rita says, "Gentlemen, this way." And we see that, the Chief is getting ready to kind of fix Superman and saying, "The Doctor will see you now." Are you out of your mind? And of course, this is the story. So I think this one isn't too bad. I think, it's giving you a taste of a kind of classical post-crisis storyline. And I think while Marvel has kind of become more stale and repetitive, you can tell DC are still keeping things fresh, newer, and still having the same new flavors that I think Marvel has made with costly mistakes. So I think this issue definitely deserves a thumbs up. Still good, and still alright. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.